Welcome, everybody, to another installment of Half Court with your boys, Logan Dolby and Matt McClure, fresh in the studio, getting a little bit comfortable, a little too comfortable maybe here in the studio.
Yeah.
What do you say, Tom?
Let's go, man. Great show ahead for you guys, talking a lot of different topics. Blast from the draft. It's going to be great. Duos, preseason. But, Dolby, we got to start things off here with a little bit of controversy that's going on here in the current NBA news. Daryl Morey and China proposes controversial legislation for governing Hong Kong. And Daryl Morey posted a tweet on Twitter that said, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." He deleted the tweet, and the tweet later got deleted. It's just a complete mess. So what do you think about this entire situation?
Well, there's so many levels to the situation. It's incredible how deep it goes, especially with the history of China and how much the NBA has grown in China recently, especially since the days that Yao Ming was a star center there for the Houston Rockets. And that's what was so surprising, is that the Houston Rockets are basically China's adopted team because they featured Yao Ming, a Chinese player. He was drafted first overall by that franchise, and he became an all-star with that franchise, played his entire career with the Rockets. And now I feel like the people of China are upset, but I don't feel like it's so much the people of China that are upset, although whatever the media will tell you, they will tell you, because that Chinese media is so corrupt over there. It's outrageous. The whole government controls everything that the people hear. They control the whole feeling of the people. Nobody has really the freedom of speech or any kind of right that they can govern whatever they want to think. It's like, it's like that Orwell book, man, 1984. It's crazy over there sometimes, dude. I don't understand how a country can be as successful as they are and govern their people the way that they do, completely abuse their people the way that China does. It's just outrageous. And now you see it crossing over to one thing that the Chinese people really show that they enjoy, really show that they like to spend their pastime watching or playing, and that's basketball. Yeah. They love NBA basketball. There's so many NBA cares, things that go on over there. There's so much that the NBA does for China and for their Chinese fans, especially the Houston Rockets. And now they're getting so much hate, and now there's so much backlash from either the NBA or China that it makes me uncomfortable as an NBA fan to even think about it, because it's like, how can a whole country be upset over one association, over one guy and one association that made one tweet a while ago that has since been deleted, and he has apologized for it? James Harden has apologized for him. Adam Silver has spoken on multiple occasions about this incident. It just blows me away how far out of proportion this has gotten.
No, I agree with you. And when you look at it even deeper, Tencent, the NBA's exclusive digital partner in China, announced that it will suspend business relations with the Rockets. The company is offering fans who bought the team pass to watch the Rockets this season and chance to choose a different team. This is just an absolute like joke. I mean, it really is. It's a tweet that was sent out by Daryl Morey that got looked at in a different way, and people didn't like it over in China, and now we're in this controversy, and you're going to have other guys talk about it, like NBA players like LeBron James, if he speaks about it. Adam Silver, you mentioned, talked a bunch about it. James Harden, he's talked about it. It's a big deal because China is one of the NBA's biggest markets, and they love their basketball in China, man. They love the NBA, and that's why this is such a big deal. It's got so much stuff going on around it that it's just very interesting to me that this is happening this close to the season.
And the Chinese government has basically forced the cancellation of all NBA Cares event in China for Chinese students that want to try and get into the game. They are, like you said, suspending all Rockets games right now. They're not even offering it on their league pass anymore. They're canceling all planned exhibition games with any NBA G League affiliates. So any of the young guys that are trying to get good minutes that should go and play against better competition over in China, some of their more national teams or some of their professional teams, they aren't able to do that anymore. So now you're taking away the opportunity of not only American players who are trying to improve their game, but Chinese players, future and current Chinese players that are trying to forward their game. And of course, there was the Lakers Nets preseason game that took place this morning in China, which was kind of awkward. All banners were removed from the stadium in China. It has to be. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, he didn't give a press conference. There was no press coverage available to any of the players after the game or before the game.
They probably don't even mind that.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably a good break because I'm sure some of these players have things to say, but players like Kyrie Irving or players like LeBron James, who have been really outspoken against these social issues or against any kind of issues, really putting their 2 cents into the pot there, they've been very quiet so far. I think part of that is because right now they're in China and they might fear for what might happen if I speak out against this government. Let's wait until I get back to the States to actually formulate a good opinion on it. And of course, these guys are very well-educated men, so they understand that they need to look into the background of what this whole situation is. They need to be able to gather different viewpoints from multiple different sources on the way that they should proceed, what they are feeling themselves. Like the fact that Daryl Morey just went out and said whatever he wanted, I didn't find much offense. I'm not Chinese. So
I agree.
So I don't know.
I didn't find much offense in it either.
I mean, I also stand with Hong Kong. I think that any governmental system that's trying to break away from an oppressive governmental system like Hong Kong has been from China, especially whenever it comes to legislation and things like that control their own government, because Hong Kong has a separate government from China, although they are one complete country. They don't choose to be completely ruled by the communist state that is big bad China. They're really just fighting for their own independent rights, and as an American, that resonates with me because I mean, how was this whole country formed? It was the little guy standing up to the big guy. It's David and Goliath here, and the Chinese government is trying to do whatever they can to oppress the Hong Kongers and everything that they believe in, and all of their rights. They're slowly getting stripped of everything that they believe in, and that's just ludicrous to me as an American to sit back and watch this. And I didn't really know what was going on in Hong Kong until the NBA really brought it to my attention. I couldn't put a face to Daryl Morey's name. I knew who Daryl Morey was.
Respected executive.
Yeah, I mean,
the Rockets, you just didn't know who he was, like you said, man.
Yeah, I had no clue who this guy was at all until I started seeing his face pop up everywhere, and now I know exactly what it was. But I mean, it's a really unfortunate situation here. And of course, it's going to come down to the brass tacks of everything. Yep. I mean, it's a $4 billion industry there in China for the league, and they could see major backlash there. Adam Silver came out and apologized. But one thing that I like that he did, and this is an Adam Silver who, as soon as he stepped in the league, he got rid of Donald Sterling as an owner. Incredibly racist old man who was just had a ton of money, owned the Clippers forever, ran that franchise in the ground almost like a James Dolan is now. He had to go. And now you got a Steve Ballmer in, who's a great owner. And he does great things with his money and a very good man. Adam Silver has always been on this moral high horse, and now he kind of seems weak whenever it comes to China because he understands that there's a lot of money to be lost here. Yep. There's so much money to be lost here in China. But the thing is that if that's who you are as Adam Silver, who I believe is the best commissioner in all of pro sports in America, he's done the best job. He's the most socially aware. And right now is the time that he needs to be the most social aware of what is going on. He needs to let his players speak out. He needs to let the fans speak out about whatever they want to say. He needs to let GMs or any front office, any owners, he needs to not restrict anybody's First Amendment rights because that's not his place. This is America here, folks. This isn't China. This isn't Russia. This isn't somewhere that they're going to, limit your speech. This is the great country of America.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah. As polarized as we are right now as a nation, and it seems like nobody can get along with one another whatsoever right now based off of politics and based off of social matters. This is something that the NBA really needs to take a step forward into. This isn't something where it's like, let's see how much cash we can line our pockets in. Listen, your league is growing. It's going to continue to grow. I think people buy more of the product from the NBA, especially with everything that goes on in the NFL and how slow baseball is and how small of a market share hockey gets. NBA is slowly but surely creeping up into that number one dog spot. It's the fastest game. I think, in my opinion, it is my favorite game to watch.
Oh, yeah.
In the best part about it is the personalities in the league. And if you're not going to let the people who have the personalities in the league talk about these social issues, then what are you doing as the commissioner? Come on, dude. This is America. This is not China.
Yeah, and I think Adam Silver will do that. I think a lot of guys are going to talk about this issue, and we've seen it a lot. I watched earlier Doc Rivers talking to the media about this situation and saying he likes how, freedom of speech here in America, and they can kind of talk about what they want to talk. And I liked how Doc Rivers said that. Greg Popovich kind of said the same thing. They talked to James Harden about it as well, and he said the same thing. So everybody's kind of on the same page here in America, and especially these guys here in the NBA. They're all on the same page. They all know that China's a huge market, and it's like you said, a $4 billion industry here with China. It's huge. They understand that, but they're going to voice their opinion, and that's that, man. That's that.
And it's just the owner of the Rockets came out. He said that what Morey said does not reflect on his organization. Fertitta, who owns the Rockets, he's basically out there throwing his guy under the bus.
I saw
because
that
he's scared of the revenue loss. Is this guy not rich enough? Does he not make enough money? Are you kidding me? And recently, I retweeted something that I saw that came out yesterday about how the Washington Wizards were playing against an international team yesterday in preseason, and these three fans who all had Stand with Hong Kong shirts on, they made a sign, and the ushers in Capital One Arena made them take it down. They confiscated their sign saying that they stood with China. Are you kidding me? This is censorship here, folks. These are fans that paid a good price in America to watch your team play against a really bad basketball team. And this is the Washington Wizards, folks. This isn't the Lakers. This isn't the Clippers. This isn't the 76ers.
Bradley Beal and the Wizards.
Yeah, this is a squad that isn't going to get much done this year, and people are coming out to see you play an international preseason game that doesn't even count. And you're going to tell them that they can't bring a sign in that has no racial slurs, nothing that has a cuss word on it, nothing that is so insensitive in America that it needs to be censored. And yet, I guarantee you, from the top down, this came down. It started with the owner who said that they don't want any backlash from China because they're scared of losing any revenue, because that's what greedy people do who are put in positions of power. They try and take away other people's power because they feel the need to, because they need more money. For some reason, they need to line their pockets more. Are you serious? You're going to silence your fans in what they believe in. They're out supporting your cause, wearing your colors, and spending money in your arena, and you're going to take away their signs for something that they really believe in, which is democracy in China, in Hong Kong. Really? You're not going to let them hang a sign that literally was black paint on white poster board, and you're just going to take that down because you're scared that some Chinese representative or somebody in the Chinese government is going to catch wind of it, and now they're going to block all your games too because of a sign by three dudes
sitting there watching the game.
Yeah, just sitting there watching a preseason game. And after the Rockets game, they had a preseason game this morning as well against the Raptors in Tokyo, Japan. They also were censored by NBA league officials. It was a reporter. They directed a question about James Harden and Russell Westbrook's comments on China. If they felt like they would be more critical or less critical, basically, of Chinese policy based off the backlash already felt by the league. And before either of those guys had a chance to answer that question, this league official shut it down completely. They weren't even giving players the chance to answer and voice their own opinion. These are two of the biggest stars in the league, and they're not allowed to have an opinion. They're not even playing in China right now. They're playing in Japan. Really? Are you kidding me?
It's
the league-wide censorship right now is just, it's incredible to me How are you going to censor media members in the stars of your league? The same thing happened in ESPN, where they got their internal memo saying that they are not any anchors or anybody in ESPN that has their voice in front of a mic. They are not allowed to comment on the politics in China currently. They're allowed to talk about the players in China. They're allowed to talk about the games in China, but they are not allowed to directly talk about the politics taking place in China right now. Are you kidding me? How scared is the American media and American companies of China? This is pathetic. This is the NBA. They transcend government. They transcend, a lot of people's hurt feelings. This is a product that people love to watch. This is a game that brings people together. This is a league that has been socially aware of everything going on.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like with the All-Star game in Charlotte. They took it away from Charlotte.
Yeah, they did take it away.
Because of the bathroom bill.
Yes.
And are you serious? You're not going to let your players comment on something that's, in my opinion, a lot more serious than where somebody goes to the bathroom or not? This is a joke.
Hey, man, I mean, you said it pretty much everything that needs to be said here. I agree with your points. I mean, this is just it's a major controversy and something that's going on a lot here as the season's progressing and going to be the season here in the next 2-3 weeks. And this is going on here in the preseason. And we've mentioned everything that's going on here. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Absolute mess. We're going to cut it to our first commercial break here, folks. Stick with us. We're going to be talking some actual NBA basketball after we come back.
Had to get that out of the way.
I mean, it's the biggest news in NBA right now. We have to talk about it, and I feel like we had to give our takes
on
it
since
absolutely. Everybody else is. Or those who do are too scared to actually voice their own opinions because they're told by their companies that they're not allowed to.